Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you.
Joe Rogan just put Andrew Tate, the so-called top G, on blast for ducking the Jake Paul fight. And let's be clear, Tate didn't just casually challenge Jake, he went full spectacle. He made a big theatrical offer, hyped it as a mega money showdown, and promised a fight that would eclipse every YouTube boxing match we've seen so far. But here's the question. Where's Andrew Tate now? No follow-up, no fight confirmation, just silence. Is he backtracking? Sidestepping? Or maybe, just maybe, not actually ready to step into the ring with Jake Paul? For all the talk, it's starting to look like Tate's offer was more smoke and mirrors than a real challenge. And Joe Rogan? He's not letting it slide. He's calling it what it looks like, a dodge.
The biggest clown on the fucking internet. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate.
Let's not forget what made this fight so enticing in the first place. Andrew Tate put a $3 million offer on the table. That's no small payday. So why is it that Jake Paul seems to be the one brushing it off, or even warning Tate away? Maybe the real story here isn't about Jake dodging anything. Maybe Tate is the one second-guessing himself, realizing that Jake Paul might not be the easy win he once thought. Could it be that after all the bravado, Tate's seeing the risk behind the reward? That stepping into the ring with Jake, someone who's actually been training, fighting, and winning, might not go the way he imagined? It's starting to look like the top G might be having second thoughts.
If my brother doesn't fuck you up, I will. And it has to go down. But I don't think he gets in the ring with one of them.
But here's the kicker. Just when you thought this was all about Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan dropped a bombshell that flipped the whole narrative. He didn't just expose why Tate might be backing out. Oh no, he revealed something about Jake Paul that'll make your jaw hit the floor. This isn't just fight drama anymore. This is a full-blown plot twist.
Me versus Andrew Tate.
Wow.
But here we are, so we could talk about that side note announcement. And please go watch the episode.
Hold on a second. What you mean you versus Andrew Tate? Because
no, I'm not saying a fight. I'm saying like our back and forth. He talks shit about me and like says he wants to beat my ass or can beat my ass and all this stuff.
I think there's a better fight to make.
Now, before we dive into what Joe Rogan revealed, let's talk about Andrew Tate's offer and why it turned so many heads. Tate isn't your average influencer. With a reported net worth of over 710 million mile, he doesn't need to fight for a paycheck. He's bold, confident, and let's be honest, he knows how to sell a fight better than most pro promoters. Add his background as a former world kickboxing champion, and you'd think Jake Paul would be the one shaking in his boxing boots. On paper, Tate has the money, the mouth, and the fight resume to make this a nightmare matchup for Jake. But then, things took a turn.
This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would fuck you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million.
The offer wasn't just about the money. It was about making a statement. Andrew Tate positioned himself as more than just an online personality. He framed himself as a all-legit, battle-tested fighter. Someone with real combat experience, not just a flashy social media brand. He promised a fight that would settle the rivalry once and for all, delivering the kind of high-stakes spectacle fans live for. But then, the deal fell apart. And it wasn't due to scheduling conflicts or contract drama. It's the real reasons lie behind Tate backing out that have people talking, and let's just say the conversations aren't painting him in the best light.
You put 3, I put 3, winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer. You're 2-0 in boxing. I'm 0-0 in boxing. I've never even fought boxing. I'm a retired old man. 5 years I've been sitting around smoking cigars and fucking bitches, which are better looking than the fucking girl you're advertising anyway.
Andrew Tate's offer should have been Jake Paul's ultimate test. Picture it. Jake, the self-proclaimed disruptor of the boxing world, stepping into the ring against a decorated, undefeated fighter with real combat credentials. It was the perfect narrative. Jake could finally prove his legitimacy, and Tate could silence the critics, once and for all. But then, something went wrong. And here's where things get murky.
I will fight you any day of the fucking week.
Rumor has it, Jake Paul played his cards like a pro. Not just as a fighter, but as a master strategist. Behind the scenes, he may have subtly warned Tate about what was truly at stake. Jake isn't just throwing punches. He's exposing weaknesses, manipulating narratives, and using mind games to get in his opponent's head. And maybe, just maybe, Tate saw through the hype and realized this fight wasn't just about knockouts. It was about protecting his brand, his image, his legacy. Because let's face it, for a man like Andrew Tate, losing to Jake Paul wouldn't just sting, it could be catastrophic.
Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown.
And then there's Xevoror, the wild card in this bizarre love triangle of boxing egos. Remember when Cheeto Mike Tyson stepped into the ring to avenge Muhammad Ali against Larry Holmes? That fight wasn't just a match. It had a moment of redemption. A poetic comeback that still echoes through boxing history. Now fast forward to 2024. Andrew Tate was gearing up to play that same role. He was poised to be the Tyson of our time, stepping into the ring to humble Jake Paul and send him crashing back to his YouTube vlogs. It had all the makings of a modern-day boxing epic, until it didn't.
I think you're focused on boxing boxers, people that are in the space that you reside.
Jake, I know he's been talking shit about you, bro.
Yeah.
But with your blessing, can I beat the shit out of Andrew fucking Tate?
100%.
But what happened instead? Nothing. No fight, no epic revenge, no poetic justice. And here's where things get murky. Could it be that Tate, who's built a career on strategically choosing fights he can win, whispered a quiet word of caution into Tate's ear? Or was it Jake Paul, playing his usual psychological chess, who finally got under Tate's skin? Either way, the result was the same. No showdown, and fans were left scratching their heads, wondering how a fight with so much hype just vanished into thin air.
I don't think he would fight us.
Come on, he's the top G.
Nah.
Come on, he's the top G.
Nah, I don't think he would fight us.
Come on.
And he called me out like 2 years ago. And I remember seeing it. I was just like, swipe up, like, okay, who the fuck is this guy? Like, don't care. That was when everyone was calling me out. And then some interviewer recently asked, like, do you know who, or would you fight Andrew Tate? And that's when I seen this guy like starting to fucking pop up over the internet. I was like, oh, that's.
Now let's not give Andrew Tate out a free pass here. For a man who prides himself on being fearless, his decision to back away from Jake Paul has raised more than a few eyebrows. Was it fear? Was it strategy? Or was it something else? Entirely? Let's not forget. Tate's confidence is his brand, his bread and butter. A loss to Jake Paul, of all people, wouldn't just be a setback. It would be a public relations disaster. In a world where image is everything, stepping into that ring may have seemed like too big a gamble, even for the self-proclaimed top G.
I am so excited about this fight.
Andrew Tate has been training with the Majiro lad.
But let's be fair. Andrew Tate is no stranger to challenges. This is a man who built an empire from the ground up, made millions, and dominated the kickboxing world. On paper, he had every reason to step into the ring with Jake Paul, and yet, he didn't. Maybe he saw something the rest of us missed. Maybe he realized that Jake Paul isn't just a YouTuber with a decent right hook. He's a master manipulator of public perception, someone who knows how to spin any narrative in his favor. And in that ring, the fight isn't just physical, it's psychological. Maybe Tate realized the real battle wasn't in the punches, it was in the headlines.
your decision making when most boxers, we don't follow their career at this point.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be in the position I am, to be highly criticized. That just means I'm doing something right. And no one has had a boxing career like mine. It'll be studied and judged, but I've risen to the top in 4 years because I've taken risks. I was the underdog all the way up until Nate Robinson, and that's something that people don't remember, don't give any credit to.
Speaking of right dimes, Jake Paul. Let's talk about the man who somehow managed to stay at the center of basically every major boxing controversy emanating in recent memory. Love him or hate him. One thing's undeniable. Jake knows how to buy and sell a fight. He's not just a boxer. He's a high-brand eye. A walking, talking spectacle who understands exactly how to get under his opponent's skin. Take this latest drama with Andrew Tate, for example. Jake didn't just sit back and let Tate control the spotlight. Oh no! He played it smart, dropping subtle hints, making slick digs, and keeping fans guessing at every turn. And let's not forget Jake's signature move, cherry-picking opponents. It's a strategy that's earned him just as much criticism as it has the victories, but it works. He knows how to pick the perfect balance of risk and reward, just enough danger to keep things interesting, but never enough to derail the hype train.
So he does tend to keep those guards down, but he's comfy at that point.
But here's where things get really interesting. Joe Rogan decided to weigh in on the drama, and what he revealed might just be the biggest twist in this already tangled saga. Joe Rogan is no stranger to controversy, and when he speaks, people listen. On a recent episode of his podcast, he didn't hold back. He exposed the real reason Andrew Tate might have backed away from the fight. And it's not what you'd expect. According to Rogan, Tate wasn't scared of Jake's punches. He was scared of Jake's influence. Think about it. Jake Paul isn't just a fighter. He's a disruptor who's changed the boxing game for better or worse. He's proven he's not afraid to play dirty when it suits him. And for someone like Andrew Tate, whose whole brand is built on being untouchable, that kind of unpredictability isn't just risky. It's downright dangerous.
Andrew keeping his balance very well, returning with the knee.
But Joe didn't stop there. He also revealed a side of Jake Paul that most people don't get to see. Behind all the bravado and trash talk, Jake is a calculated, strategic thinker. He knows exactly how to pick his battles, and more importantly, how to win them, both inside the ring and outside of it. According to Rogan, that's what makes Jake so dangerous. And what about KSI? Where does he fit into this tangled saga? Well, let's just say KSI's role is as complicated as his boxing career. On one hand, he's been a fight-wee vocal critic, of both Jake and Tate. On the other, he's been accused of playing it safe, carefully choosing opponents he knows he can beat.
Or even Andrew Tate's talking to young boys.
You see this on Kevin Samuels' show. You see this on sometimes, what's the other guy? Andrew Tate. It's just confrontation. Confrontation sells. And we're not going to stop this confrontation. This is going to become an era. So we can continue to make money off of people's pain.
But here's the thing. KSI isn't just a fighter. He's a businessman. He knows his reputation is everything, and he's not about to risk it on a fight he might lose. So, while he's quick to call out Jake and Tate, he's also careful not to get too deep into the drama. At the end of the day, this saga isn't just about boxing. It's about egos, brands, and the ever-blurring line between sports and entertainment. Andrew Tate, Jake Paul, and KSI, they're all playing the same game, and they're all playing to win. But here's the real question. Who's the biggest winner in all of this? Is it Jake, who's managed to stay at the center of every conversation? Is it Tate, who's kept his reputation intact despite backing out? Or is it Joe Rogan, who exposed the truth behind all the drama? The answer? That's up to the fans. This saga has been a roller coaster of hype, drama, and disappointment. From Andrew Tate's bold challenge, to Jake Paul's mind games, to Joe Rogan's bombshell revelations. One thing's clear. This story is far from over. And even if Tate and Jake never step into the ring together, the world of influencer boxing has never been more entertaining or unpredictable. So, who do you think came out on top? Let us know in the comments below.